Hello YouTube, today I'm going to be covering the Satechi R2 Bluetooth Multimedia Remote Control, one of the more popular premium Bluetooth remotes available. It's also a good archetype for this type of non-customizable Bluetooth remote, along with the common problems faced by them. What sets the R2 apart is its build quality, which is really top-notch, featuring a solid metal construction and crisp edges that definitely has got that premium Apple-esque hand feel, unlike most plastic remotes that feel really cheap and flimsy. The R2 also includes a few other special keys that sets it apart from other remote controls. These buttons here like Home, I think this is the Siri key, the mute or left click, or the show keyboard key, and the right click. You might find these navigation keys useful in some scenarios, but I don't really have much use for most of them, except for mute and the show keyboard key that I've only ever seen on this R2 remote. The show keyboard key is meant for touchscreen phones and tablets that often hide their on-screen keyboard because the OS thinks that when remotes like these are connected to your device, you already have a proper keyboard connected, so you don't need the on-screen keyboard anymore. Which isn't the case at all, because you only have a basic Bluetooth remote connected and not a full-on keyboard. This uniquely useful button, however, forces the on-screen keyboard to appear when you just need to type something, and has come in very handy on many occasions. I wish more Bluetooth remote manufacturers would include this button on their devices. As you can see from the dual function icons, the R2 features two modes that you can toggle between using this switch here on the right hand side. P is for presentation mode, and the main keys it gives you are the up, down, left, right arrow keys, and the center key triggers the enter key. This is set up for you to navigate presentation slides as intended, but if you want to use it for non-presentation purposes, the arrow keys can come in useful too, with the left and right arrow keys being perfect for scrubbing through video playback. But the enter key unfortunately does nothing in most video apps. It would have been great if it also triggered a play pause in video apps, as is the case on some of the desktop versions of these apps. M is for multimedia mode, which is intended for audio controls on music apps. However, like 99% of Bluetooth remotes, it's really hit or miss when it comes to controlling other forms of multimedia like videos, podcasts, and audiobooks. It all depends on how the app is set up. In my testing, I found these remotes work as expected with audiobooks on Audible, and Spotify also handles both music and podcast controls flawlessly. Spotify has specifically programmed the controls to make intuitive sense for all situations, either skipping between songs when playing music, or going backwards and forwards by 15 seconds for podcasts when you press the rewind and fast forward button. This makes the most sense. Unfortunately, Spotify is one of the rare apps that has the controls set up in this manner. As of now, in April 2025, most video apps like YouTube, Netflix, Disney+, Amazon Prime Video, etc. either completely skips between videos when you press the rewind or fast forward button, which is not very intuitive or useful in the context of video playback. These rewind and fast forward buttons should really work like regular TV remote controls. While some of the apps simply don't even respond to the rewind and fast forward buttons at all. The only app that I found works properly is VLC, but that was only on iOS. The rewind and fast forward buttons do nothing on Android VLC. So, from Spotify and VLC, I know it's definitely doable to configure the rewind and fast forward buttons to behave properly. And it's a frustrating and unintuitive UI choice made by most app developers. The fix should be really quite simple. Either remap rewind to the left arrow key and fast forward to the right arrow key, or even better, just give users the option to choose how they would like the keys to behave in the app settings. In addition, since mobile operating systems and apps are not very customizable, you're stuck with this limitation, right? Well, not quite. At this point, if you're like me and don't want to build your own custom remote controls from scratch, you start digging through the internet for alternatives and options, and you come up with slim pickings. There's almost nothing out there. Almost. Well, thankfully, there are a small handful of Bluetooth remotes that actually let you customize the keys at a hardware level to regain proper control of your devices. Unfortunately, most of them are relatively unknown or hard to source. But if you absolutely want or need to find a better remote control for increased productivity, whether that's for controlling video playback or paging through ebooks, then do check out my other videos here on this channel, where I'll be covering some of the available options in later videos.